Morning folks, this is a tutorial for beginning with the hake brush. I've been using a hake for over 30 years and I go back to when Ron Ranson introduced it in big brush watercolour painting. I'll wet my paper. This is his method, it's not the paper he used I think Bockingford at the time. This is great, the 16 by 20 inch spiral bound blocks. So he didn't even need to carry a board because the thick board at the back had this sort of thing. This is a 16 by 20, I think. Yeah, 16 by 20 inches. That's I think is a Bockingford, or it is the data around here anyway. It's a very good quality paper for wetting wet. So that is the backing. That you've got a nice thick backing to it. You just need some clips, bulldog clips, and as it expands when you wet it, you can re-stretch the paper. See what's happening? Look. So if we just let that soak in a little bit. Using £140 papers, this is £130 Fabriano. Is fraught with dangers for beginners because if you paint on the paper dry, you tend to get cauliflowers. By wetting, it softens and spreads the paint on the paper. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's far from impossible because I managed to learn it. And I went back to painting with a hake about December 2012. I did it for some friends. I was doing oil painting mostly for 15 years before that. But she wanted help, and I said I'd do some demonstrations using hake brush. And I did that, got into YouTube, and I've been using the hake for the last 5 years, nearly 5 years. But mostly I've done quite a few acrylics as well. But the basic techniques are the palette, cadmium yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, burnt umber. That would be Payne's grey, but I've got it as black. And burnt sienna. You can use lemon yellow, you can use cadmium yellow light, you can use Payne's grey, I've got black. But the rest of the colours are pretty standard. And learn to use your few colours. Don't throw different colours at the painting thinking it's going to help you out. It won't. It will cause confusion and you'll get fed up. Learn to use all the colour mixes from the paints you have. It takes a while, but then if you didn't, it wouldn't be worth doing, would it? Right, see, I'm just reclipping. So this is going to be a simple landscape, very simple. We use a bit of raw sienna for that in your hake. This is a food tray. They're very cheap, very easy to buy, very common. You can buy them online, you can buy them at hypermarkets for grocery stores. You can always, but once it starts to dry out, it gets critical. Once the shine goes off the paper, you start getting your cauliflowers. But while it's wet, you can do a lot with it. Okay, so simple sky. We'll use a bit of blue. Let's put a bit of blue, a bit of ultramarine blue. Just stroke it in as it weakens, coming down to the foreground. Clean the brush and mix. Now, Ron Ranson used one of his favourite colours for clouds was Payne's grey and alizarin. Well, I've got the black here, so I'm going to make my own Payne's grey. So a bit of blue, bit of black, and a bit of alizarin. Then we have a nice warm sky colour look. If we're going to put water in, we can put the water reflection in at the stage. And then we have a bit of shadow. No, so I've still got the Payne's grey. And then we leave alone. Okay, at this stage you can dry it with a hairdryer. But if you're out of doors, you can't. But it will air dry. So we'll just let that go for a minute. Quite happy with that. We've got a sort of a sky with a lot of stuff going on into it. But I want to put in some trees, some tree background, some distant trees. So I just keep that nice and flat. So I will dry it. So take your headphones off, and I'll just give that a quick dry. Now I've got my board at about 20-25 degrees. It's a good angle. It doesn't run off the paper very quickly and congregate at the bottom. But because I've got a boom, I can do that. I've only had the boom several months, and before that I would work vertically with the camera pointing at the board, and it's not the greatest of angles. So this 30 degrees, that's horizontal, and that's the angle. Right, so now we're going to put in some distant trees. So distant trees, blue, nice bit of blue, bit of black in with that. Okay, so remember that the colours dry much lighter than when you put them on. Look. We can put other colours in this. I don't want to put any mountains in. I just want to show you colour recession, aerial perspective. You can make this into a snow scene. Keep your centre of interest away from or your focus, your main focus, away from the centre of the picture. You can make it look as if you're going over a hill there by just making them smaller. Or we're going uphill there. Well, that's okay because we mentioned a hill. Well, let's come down again and then undulate it here a little bit. But I know when you first start with a hake, it's a devil of a brush to work with. It does need taming. It's just a matter of, look, I'm just using the tip of the brush, the corner. Look, take your trees off the paper, like off the edge. Otherwise it'll look as if you're fitting it in between two fixed points. Okay. So we've got nice tree shapes there, and then we can start to warm up a bit. We can put a bit of burnt sienna with that, and then we'll just do a bit of landscape. Warmer colours coming towards the foreground. We could make this a snow scene, quite easy. Just some bushes on the slopes. We're trying to create a 3D impression on a two-dimensional piece of paper. No, you don't have to do too much. What we try to avoid with the fast and loose watercolour painting is a lot of detail and fussiness. We can put in a bit of a melting pool using burnt sienna and black and a bit of that blue. The hake, as they get older, they start to shed their hairs, a bit like us, a bit like me really. So let's have more blue in there. Right, how far should we take that? So there we are. Now we can just put in a little bit of detail there. But warm colours, so yellow, cad yellow, burnt sienna. Okay, let's just put in some darker stuff on. Oh no, not necessarily. We need some. Let's clean the brush and put in just some trunks on there. So using the same colour, but just a little bit darker than the background. Just got to be dry or dryish. Huh. We can put some warmer colours in there, slightly warmer, just to make those trees go back a bit further, like this. And a little bit warm. So now we've got a nice sort of landscape with nothing much in it. We can put in a bit of a tree. Just a bit of burnt sienna, and let's just put, well, let's come over here and just put one in here. Well, using the chisel edge of the hake, you can use a rigger, but I'm a great believer in using the largest brush that I can get away with. You don't need to make it too elaborate. Just put a few leaves on there. Oh, a bit more of that corner of the hake, and we've got some trees, got some. I can put a bit of red in there. Well, burnt sienna is red. Now, I have a bit of a thing about Winsor & Newton. Burnt sienna is the best one I've ever used. The Cotman, you don't need expensive paints. The Cotmans are more than adequate, especially to learn them. What you use ultimately is up to you. They're all good. They all do different things. But it's the lovely, deep, rich redness of the sienna that I like. Oh, just a little bit of detail. And that'll do. Let's put some shadow in, or some clouds. So just a bit of blue. Well, just showing some shadow behind these bushes, things. Okay, there we go. And shadow with the direction of the land. Not much on there. Okay, now with a rigger to finish off. We'll put in a couple of, from palette grey, just put a few birds, and that will do. I've got some light shining on the, I just almost blinded a bit. Right, so there we are. Beginner's Guide to the Hake. That's as simple as a painting that you can copy I've overdone the blue here, I've not made it that subtle, but I've just done it to show you how to create distance. If you painted those in realistic colours, like the browns and like the winter colours, they would come too far forward. Cool colours recede, warm colours come forward. So that's how we create the illusion of depth in the landscape. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I will sign that because I think it's quite a good example of beginning with the hake. With snow, it's what you leave out rather than what you put in. I'm going to put that in a mount, and I hope my camera's far enough away so I can zoom out and you'll see the mount. Otherwise we'll have to edit the thing, and that all takes time. Right, so I like my ivory mount from bung that on. Bit dirty, but there we are. So there's a very, very simple. Yeah, the light's still shining in underneath the paint. Well, that looks all right. So there you go. Have a go yourselves. Happy painting, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.